Hello everybody, this is Van Hargis with Van Hargis Horsemanship. Thank you for joining me again on the ranch road, but here's the key. Like we said in a couple of previous episodes, we're just kind of trying to be productive today. I'm not headed over to the ranch. I've got a very important meeting that we're going to today. Uh, but in doing so, that means I've got road time, which means I can share some information with you guys. And as the previous videos showed, you might have seen again, I'm in the same shirt, same hat. Forgive me for that. We're just going to keep posting these though, so that we can be as productive as possible on these types of trips. But here we go. We talked in the previous episodes about the fundamentals and the basics. What do I consider the basics? And we started off again with establishing forward motion, and in doing so, training that horse and helping that horse find that path of least resistance. That is the absolute most basic and at the same time the most important aspect, in my humble opinion, of horse training, is establishing that. And in doing that and establishing that, we establish what I think is the number one characteristic that we have to have in that relationship, which is trust. We've got to build that on trust. Question is, trust is great, but how do you get it? Well, that's what I'm trying to teach you guys now, is you establish trust with your horse by you being consistent, you being persistent, and you doing things for that horse that looks out and makes for better decisions on his behalf than you do. You've got to look out for the horse. That doesn't mean we babysit them. If they make a mistake, their mistake needs to have consequences, just like it would for us or for anything else. The consequence generally, as cold-blooded as it sounds, is generally a threat to their comfort, meaning that it's got to cost them something. If it costs them something, such as a little energy, maybe a little bit of wind, and sometimes maybe even just a little bit of stress, but if it costs them something, they'll learn what not to do. And quite frankly, that's exactly how horses learn. They learn what not to do. And by learning what not to do, it helps them eliminate the things that they don't need to do and what they do need to do. What they don't need to do is move into pressure. Why? It costs them comfort, it costs them energy, and sometimes it costs them a little bit of mental stress. Therefore, they learn what to do, and what to do is to always seek the path of least resistance. If they will think and respond by thinking of where that path of least resistance is, they'll get pretty darn proficient at finding that path of least resistance quicker and quicker and quicker. That, my friends, is horse training. That, my friends, will help a horse more than anything else we establish with them, is establishing that path of least resistance and helping and be so committed to that horse finding that path. And you want to do so as easy and as gently as you can, but folks, you've also got to be as firm as necessary. Gentle and easy as you can, but as firm as necessary to help that horse find that path of least resistance. When they do find that path of least resistance, you just pull the pressure off of them, or you allow them to find that comfort in that path, that there's less pressure there than there is anywhere else. I wish I could say more about, what some people call that negative reinforcement. I don't really know if that's what you would really label it, because I don't think horses understand negativity. We do, and we try to put other little cool labels on it to make ourselves sound important or whatever. But if you just sit around and watch horses, when they want one horse to move to another area, they simply put pressure on it. So the concept of pressure and release and helping them find that comfort zone, in other words, wherever that area is that has no pressure, that is a language, that is a communication in which they already understand. And maybe, just maybe, that's where somebody coined the term natural horsemanship, because that is very natural for horses. They don't give each other cookies when they do something good. What they do is they simply just take the pressure off of them. They don't say to themselves, hey, little junior, let me go give you an extra blade of grass for doing such a good job today. They don't do that. But if Junior does something wrong, the mare might pin her ears, do whatever it takes to let that colt know they did something wrong. In other words, there's a gentle deal. Pin your ears. No harm, no foul. But if the colt doesn't respond to that little gentle suggestion, the mare may make a threat to make the colt uncomfortable. If the horse still doesn't respond, the mare might reach over and try to bite at it. If that doesn't work, the mare is going to bite at it. If that doesn't work, then the mare might just spin around and kick the heck out of it. In other words, that's escalation of pressure. By doing so, that horse is applying pressure until she gets the response from the colt in which she wants. When that happens, we've established that relationship. As long as that mare does that really quiet and consistent, then that colt will begin to learn, hey, when that mare pins her ears, she means something. When that mare pins her ears, she means business. So it doesn't mean the mare's mean, doesn't mean that she's bad, doesn't mean she's a hard horse to work with. It just means that she's trustworthy. You can trust that when she pins her ears, she means business. That's exactly what we do. So that's why the other things that we're working on, such as helping the horse seek the path of least resistance, establishing forward motion and the control of forward motion, if we do that quietly and we do that consistently, but we also do it as firmly as necessary, what we are doing is we're establishing trust. We're establishing in that horse that we are very consistent, and with that consistency and persistence comes trust. The horse begins to trust our reactions and our responses. As a result, we become more trustworthy in their eyes, we become more reliable, more dependable in their eyes, and with that we establish the trust in which we can build more and more things on. So again, that's just another little tidbit we talk about on establishing the path of least resistance, establishing forward motion and control of forward motion. And in doing so, we're working on that trust, which is so keenly important. Guess what? We are finally, after 3 or 4 of these videos, we are finally at our destination. So we're going to jump out here and say hello to our friends and neighbors here at Full of Pep and at Ranger Gate. And we're going to support them today on their open house. And until next time, this is Van Hargis with Van Hargis Horsemanship.